This is a Life in Quebec podcast. For more, visit lifeinquebec.com. Thanks for listening.
I'm Andrew Greenfield for lifeinquebec.com, and I'm here with celebrated Quebec singer-songwriter Rick Hughes. Rick was a founder member of Sword, the Quebec group, which achieved cult status for many rock fans around the world. Sword released 2 albums and played with world-famous artists such as Alice Cooper, Motorhead and Metallica, among others. Members of Metallica and Megadeth go so far as saying that they were huge fans of Sword and were indeed influenced by them. So, Rick, thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Andrew.
Okay, tell us a little bit about life before Sword. Who influenced you and got you into music?
Well, a lot of the British bands from the 70s as far as 80s were my influence. My biggest influence of all was Led Zeppelin. Then it went to the Beatles, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden. That's about it.
Okay, now you come from a musical family. Did that help at all?
Oh, sure did. My brother Dan is a drummer, and he was a drummer for Sword at that time when we recorded the 2 albums. So it made for inside the group, like a family thing. It's always good to have brothers in a band. Just look at AC/DC or others that I can't think of right now. But yeah.
Okay.
My sister is a well-known singer here in Quebec too.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming from a musical family, it always helped, I think.
Now, going back to the 1980s, what was it like working with some of the biggest names in the industry at the time?
Well, things were a lot different than they are today. So I guess at that time, bands like Sword that would come from Montreal, from Quebec, where that's before the Cirque du Soleil, before Céline Dion, before Simple Plan, those big names that made a trail. Yeah. Before that, I guess bands like Sword were more star-struck.
Right.
Than bands would be today, I guess, because for us it was a big deal. I mean, meeting Lemmy in the UK, when they announced us that Lemmy was a fan of Sword and wanted us to open for his new tour back in the UK, we were ecstatic.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We put it this way, yeah.
I can imagine. So let's jump forward a few years now and talk about current projects. Now, the American Story Show, which is something that you're heavily involved in, how did that come about?
Well, I was when the metal trend went out of style, and it became the grunge scene. I kind of pull out the music scene worldwide and focused on here in Quebec how to work as a hired gun as a singer. Yeah. And make a living for my family, because I'm the proud father of a son and a daughter. So I started to work here in Quebec as a choriste. Yeah. So that's a job where you're behind the scene a lot. Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of TV shows for 10 years, and then I was with Eric Lapointe for another 8 years. So that's 18 years being behind the scene. Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I had a lunch with a friend of mine, and I told him, I said, listen, my kids are on their own right now. They're out of the house, and I want to take my career back. I would love to champion a show, and be in the middle of the poster,
Yeah.
per se. So I said, I got a friend who's got an idea for a new show. I'll arrange a meeting. So the next week we had a meeting with Sébastien Côté. Mm-hmm. Who had the idea for American Story Show, and we sat and I agreed, and the rest is history. We handpicked all the musicians, the singers, and the show is alive and well as we speak right now.
So we've got, having seen the show, you work with a couple of great singers and musicians in Kim Richardson and Marc-André Fortin. How did you guys get together for the American Story Show? How did that come about?
Well, like like I said, they were handpicked by Sébastien Côté, who's the executive producer of the show, and his choices were perfect. Kim Richardson is wow. I'm amazed. You know, singing with her. Sometimes we do like 3, 4, 5 shows a week.
Yeah.
And just to watch her, how she works her voice and how she works the scene and everything. I mean, it's an honor to share the stage with her. And the same goes with Marc-André Fortin, being the youngest of us 3.
Yeah.
Is amazing to watch him work, because I remember when I had his age, I had a technique.
Yeah.
But coming from metal, coming from hard rock, that you start out when you're young, singing AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, you start out and you just cross your fingers and you hope it's going to be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of screaming and I mean, these guys were top singers. I'm talking about Robert Plant, Brian Johnson, Bon Scott. Come on.
Yeah.
When you start your career and you have to imitate those guys, it's a challenge every night.
So this is one of my, yeah.
The same goes with American Story Show. You know, when I watch Marc-André Fortin coming out on stage and sing Unchained Melody night after night,
yeah.
it is a challenge, and I know it is. And same goes for me. You know, where on the same show I have to do Elvis and Axl Rose. You know, which are two totally different voices.
This is, you know, it's funny. You must be reading my list of questions here, because I've got, the next one I've got is, there's so many music genres that are covered in the show. When I saw it in the spring of 2016 in Quebec City, I'd lost count at around 70 songs by around 50 artists. Now, you've got 40 years of material to choose from by some outstanding artists. How can you possibly decide what to include in the show and what to leave out? There's so much.
This is a great question. The answer is sometimes it's the song that decides for themselves. Let me explain. When we started to build on the project, Mike Gauthier was for many years at Music Plus. Chose the song. He chose like 300 songs. From those 300 songs, we made a list of songs that we would be comfortable in singing, each of us.
Yeah.
So my list had like 100 songs. That's divided by 3. From what we sent them, they put it down to 150 songs. Then we went into a rehearsal hall, and we had like 50 songs each to try out. Well, some songs where they were there, like I'm going to give you an example. Living in America.
Yeah.
You heard me sing that song during the show.
Yeah.
When I first sang it for the producers, everybody jumped up and they said, that song stays in the show. You know? That's what I mean by saying some songs were decided by themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There were so many that some songs I was sure would stay in the show, but the magic was not as big as when I sang Living in America or Light My Fire or Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Now you have to, during the show, you've got images projected onto the back screen or the screen behind you of key moments in American history. And how do you select the songs to go with the history, to get the right ones to for the moment?
Yeah, some images had to be there. So some songs we had to nail because the images were so strong for the moment and the year. But this was decided by For You to See. This is a company from Quebec that started from the ground.
Yeah.
And now they work with the biggest name like Céline Dion, Cirque du Soleil, Montreal Canadiens. So they were the guy that helped us to choose the images that would go with which song. Yeah. Because let's not forget, American Story Show is the story of America.
Yes.
With the songs that were number 1 or number 2 or number 3 at the time when a particular thing happened in the United States.
So with regards the set list itself then, with the production team, was it yourself and Kim and Marc Andre together collectively that pretty much decided on the set list?
Yes and no. It was the director, which is Christian Broca, that decided. But then, like I said, we had 150 songs, and when you said you stopped counting at 70, you were close.
Yeah.
We have 84 songs in the show.
Yeah.
So from 150 to 84 songs, it had a lot to do with the way the songs were rendered.
Well, I've got to be honest with you, Rick. I was sat watching the show. Well, I was on my feet too. It was such an amazing show, and it was so good. And I tell you, I lost count at 70 songs. I was trying to write them down as I was going along, but I was enjoying myself too much. I forgot to do it.
Well, thanks a lot. This is heaven sent for the three of us, for even the musicians, because here in Quebec, it's probably like that everywhere, but here in Quebec, you work hard on a show and you put all your guts and soul into it, and you hope that people are going to like it. You hope the magic is going to be there, but sometimes it's just not there, and it's nobody's fault. It's just like that. But this is the opposite, where since the very first show of American Story Show, we were in Gatineau last summer. Since the very first show, we felt the magic. I knew this show would find its crowd, would find the heart and soul of people who would take time to it's getting harder and harder to sell tickets. Yeah. Especially for musicals. But thank God this is not a problem for us right now.
No, there's no doubt about that. I've got to tell you, it's an awesome show. Now, do you think the American Story Show is going to be running for a while?
Well, they keep sending me shows for now. Yesterday I received some confirmation for shows for 2018.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So far, so good.
Well, keep at it. So, what's next for you? And do you have any other projects in the work at all?
Yes, I work the scene a lot here in Quebec. I got the Rick Hughes show, doing a lot of shows in parallel with American Story Show. I just finished recording an album last year. All songs that I've been writing for a couple of years. So it's just been released last year. So it's playing here and there in the radios. I'm such a lover of music and being in bands and doing some shows and projects that one thing's for sure, I'm a believer. Yeah, I'm going to be there for quite a while.
Well, keep going. And honestly, Rick, thanks for talking to lifeinquebec.com, and good luck with the American Story Show and your future project.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
This is a Life in Quebec podcast. For more, visit lifeinquebec.com. Thanks for listening.